You okay there?
Yeah, nothing else. Sorry, I was turning the phone off and setting screens so they, you know what I mean? I can't talk and do things at the same time. So when I just shut up, that means I'm usually doing something else.
No, it was just that whatever you were doing was like popping and clicking and whatever and on the mic, you know? I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I was picking up like the phone real quick, putting it down, picking up the tablet really quick. My chair creaks, but there's nothing I can do about that, so...
You know, I don't know if the chair creak picks up. I hear it, you know?
Yeah.
But I hear everything on everyone's podcast. And it's one of those, like I hear when I listen to other people's podcasts. And I know a lot of people record through Discord.
Yeah.
And I hear the Discord notifications popping up all the time on other people's podcasts. I know last week when I was doing At Odds, I forget I was on whatever the site I was on for the show. I got some sort of pop-up about like my Java applet is out of date, you know?
Right.
And that showed up on the show and I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I was so upset. But there's podcasts that I listen to where it's just constant. You hear traffic in the background. You hear... you know, whatever. And like last week when we were recording, my wife didn't wrangle the cats. And
yeah, you were telling me that it was outside the door or whatever.
Right. And I went and I listened and you couldn't hear them on the recording.
I didn't hear your cats. So.
Right. You didn't hear them. They weren't on the recording, but even with the headphones on, I could hear them. So it was driving me nuts.
Well, when we were doing the Swamp Thing one, there was somebody who decided to drive up and down my street many, many times. And I don't know if that was coming through. Do you know what I mean?
It was not.
Okay, because as when I did the Helmet podcast, I always Marcus with the sounds of freedom. He told me so. But yeah, so I was like that. I will say this: when I found out that you dislike noises on podcasts, I was like, I tried to be really, really quiet, like, and not move in my chair and all that stuff. And then I was like, oh, my back hurts. If this chair creaks, it creaks. You know what I mean? Like there came a point where I was like, I'm going to not go out of my way to make noise. But if noises happen, I'm in the so be it camp at this point. You know what I mean? So, because I know your list of pet peeves. You haven't added any since last time, have you?
No.
Right. But
it's somewhere around here.
Yeah. You did bring up Discords. I don't know what those are, just so you know.
Discord is just kind of like a private, it's the equivalent of like a private message board.
Right, so it's almost like a chat room, maybe?
Yeah, kind of, sort of, and then like you have like, there's the main one, and then like, let's say it's Longbox Heroes, and we could just have like, oh, like here's a general chat, and here's like people want to talk about movies and the TV shows, and then like, you guys want to talk about Star Trek, you could just be right here. So, you know, it's kind of like that.
Because I saw Skinny Jeans has one. Like I always see him talking about it. And then there's some other people who like do podcasts on YouTube who have them. And I'm just like, I don't understand them. You know what I mean? So I never like clicked on it. One, because, you know, I don't see me going into Skinny Jeans Discord to talk, you know, like whatever. So I was just like, I was tempted to click on it to see what it did, but then I was like, will people know I'm in here? I don't like people knowing what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
If you don't have a Discord account, and this is so funny too, because as you had mentioned, so many people that have a Patreon have an exclusive Patreon or an exclusive Discord that you can only get in if you're a Patreon, right?
Right.
So you sign up and you connect your Patreon account with your Discord account, and then if there's somebody who has a Discord with their Patreon, it'll automatically put you in there. And then if you don't even have Discord, you know, you got to go through the whole process of signing up and two-factor authentication and all the other stuff. And then when you go in there, in the main chat, it drops a thing that says you're there, right?
Okay.
So
whatever screen name. Go ahead, sorry.
So that everyone can say hi to you when you show up. It's like, so-and-so just showed up for the first time, you know?
Right. Like I said, it just seems like AOL chat rooms back in the day.
Essentially, you know, it was one of the 15 things that everything was going to go to when Twitter fell apart, you know, 6 months ago, and everyone still uses Twitter.
Yeah, and it's not going away. I stand by that. So
Right.
Twitter, it's going to have to. I mean, technically, MySpace is still there. You know what I mean?
Well, MySpace is very different today than what it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it is.
But it's still there.
It's still there. It still exists, right?
Right. Well, even I know now we're on social media, but like MySpace even changed over the course of while it was popular. Wasn't it like a music, like to promote your music? And then it turned into like one of the first social media, like, oh, I'm on here other than music, and like, let me talk about this and my day and shit like that, you know?
So it started primarily, as you mentioned, for a thing for people to promote their music, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like said like this is the only thing that you could use it for. That just so happens, you know. But obviously, if you're going to use this thing to promote your music to people that aren't musicians, well, I can't promote this thing to people who aren't musicians unless they're on this platform. So you're inviting people to sign up for this platform, and then the normies got on the platform.
Right.
And then the normies are like, well, I could use this to promote my comic book or my, you know, podcast or my wrestling promotion or my wrestling career, whatever it is.
I could just show people what I ate today. Like, that's, like, and that what became of social media kind of a deal. I get you.
Right. Did we talk about this on here about one for the I have to feed my phone?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. So I heard this on one of the other podcasts that I listened to, and I can't give credit to which one it is because I listen to so goddamn many podcasts, right?
You got to whittle it down like I do, Joe.
Yeah, to one, which was late this week, by the way. Don't even get me started on that.
Wasn't he on vacation or something?
No, and again, side note before we get back to feeding the phone.
Right.
The son-in-law was on vacation.
Right.
And they had to record late, and it was taking precious time away from Salty Keith playing Dead Island 2.
First of all, the fact that Salty Keith plays a video game blew my fucking mind. Joe.
Right. So if not knowing that beforehand, if you had come to me and said, Salty Keith plays a video game obsessively, gamer chair, online, gets hot when he can't play it, I'd be like, okay. What game?
Solitaire.
I would be like, I would have initially guessed Fortnite, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because there are a lot of creators of various ages from like mid to late 30s up to late 40s into their early 50s that are like regular Fortnite players, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like all the different people that I have the Substacks for. It's like this and like Bendis on Tuesdays will be like, hey, we're doing the writer's workshop tonight, and then Pacific time 9:00, me, Fraction, and so are going to be on Fortnite.
Wow. Okay.
You know,
I have no idea because
right. So, and then if you said to me, okay, I don't even know Dead Island 2 is a game.
I don't know what it is.
Right. But the fact that like, and it was brought up several times during the 36-minute podcast that Salty Keith was being kept from his precious Dead Island 2.
Right, and that he's got heat with Muhammad Ali, but he won that feud, Joe.
I would say he won that feud.
Yep, he won that feud. I can't wait to hear the Mel Gibson one. So,
oh my goodness. All right, so feed the phone.
Right.
Person podcast I listened to, they were out and about, they were eating with their wife or whatever it was. And there was two younger girls at the table. Their food comes over. And before they dig in, the girl says, oh, hang on. Before we eat, I have to feed my phone first. And that is taking a picture of her food to post on Instagram.
Okay. That should be an app. Feed your phone. You can just show people your social media what you ate.
Mm-hmm.
Or is that what it is, too, now? I don't know.
I don't know.
But that's not a bad idea.
Dead Island 2.
Mm-hmm.
The sequel to Dead Island, duh.
Right. Would have been funny if it was the prequel to Dead Island 1.
So I guess Dead Island was a game that's been out like with various updates since 2011, right? They did a quasi sequel called Dead Island Riptide. And then the actual sequel, Dead Island 2, came out the day they were recording.
Oh, that's why that would have been me, like, if Red Dead Redemption 3 comes out on the night we record. It'll be like, nope, sorry, Joe, move it back.
Oh, luckily I don't have that sort of like attack. Like I have my Pokemon and I have my Marvel Puzzle Quest, as we talked about on here, but like Marvel Puzzle Quest I could hit whenever I could hit, and then the Pokemon events usually take place on the weekends, where I don't do nothing.
To be fair, and I think I may have discussed this on here, if not, I probably told you this offline, I only buy a system for 2 games. And they come out every, 10 years.
Right, so. Red Dead Redemption and the Grand Theft Autos, right?
Yes. And I will play the Batman games, but that is because they're cast-offs from the Colonel Sanders artist. When he's done with the Batman games, he's just like, here. I get so little back from selling them at GameStop, and I don't want them, sitting on my shelf. He's like, just here. So I have the whole collection of the Arkham games. And I'm like, all right, I'll play them when I get around to them,
Yeah.
And nothing else do I throw on there. I don't know how long ago it is, I bought the big TV. I can look on Twitter when it was. And I bought the PS5 to go with it. So someday when Grand Theft Auto, the next one comes out, the next PS, I can have it. I have not turned it on other than to update it and put my account in. I don't have a game. Adam let me the remastered new PlayStation 5 upgraded Grand Theft Auto. It's sitting next to the PlayStation. I paid X amount of dollars to just have a dust collector next to my TV. But when that game comes out, I'm ready to go, Joe.
Do you have any idea? Have they made any announcements of when they're coming out?
Red Dead Redemption is probably not for a long, long time, but there is movement on the new Grand Theft because they last year somebody got in trouble, legit got in trouble, because they leaked a bunch of footage of the test stuff, and so it's in the next year maybe. Whatever, don't care. I'll buy it. I will probably guarantee there will be a PS6 when it comes out, so I'll probably, have just never used the 5, and it'll go in my PS collection.
Your Todd PS collection?
Yes.
So I mentioned on the wrestling show, of course, but I had pre-ordered a Blu-ray of an anime that I liked when it aired here in the States. It was Ultimate Muscle, Kinnikuman, muscles, those little tiny pink whatevers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a wrestling anime. It was very goofy. It was over the top. It's 20 years old. I got Japanese subtitled or dubbed subtitled bootlegs, and there was little things. It was the Americanization of them, right?
Right.
So through the whole course of what was released in America and what was released in Japan, they're finally releasing the entire series on Blu-ray for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I love this series. I don't have a Blu-ray player, so I pre-ordered the thing. It comes out at the end of May, and I'm like, okay, I still have another month at this point, as of this recording, to worry about a Blu-ray player because I don't have a Blu-ray player. And friend of the show, co-host of at least 2.5 shows on the network, Brett says to me, he's like, well, you could have my PS4, right? PlayStations are essentially overhyped Blu-ray players.
Right. It's not a 4K DVD you bought, though, right?
No.
Okay, then it'll work.
So he's like, you can have my PS4. And I said, thank you, but no thank you, because the problem is if I bring a PS4 into the house, it don't go in the living room. My son will take it and put it in his room, and then I got to buy him PS4 games.
That is a good thing, but man, you got to get some control over that child, man. My old man bought a PS4 and it was his.
Yeah.
I would not be playing that PS4. You got to go old school. None of this new age daddy.
Well, listen.
Just start beating that kid.
But I can get a bottom of the line Blu-ray player for $50 on Amazon,
Yeah.
And then I don't have to worry about my kid stealing it from me.
Right. Will he take it to watch Blu-rays though?
It would be the only Blu-ray we would own is the Ultimate Muscle Kinnikuman DVDs.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll start buying your Blu-rays.
Well, so that's the thing. Now that's the slippery slope, is that like now that I have that, I'm like, oh, I can start upgrading stuff to Blu-ray eventually, right?
Yeah.
I am Mr. Physical Media.
You are. You are.
They just announced a new Foo Fighters, album, CD or whatever coming out in June. So I'm like, well, there's my one CD purchase for the whatever, right?
Yeah, I have my CD purchases too. We've talked about it,
Yeah. And did we talk about? We could be here all night with nonsense like this, but that Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie are coming up the mountain in September.
I don't know if we talked about that because I don't know, because I talked to a bunch of people because a lot of people know I'm a big Alice Cooper fan. So
yeah,
I've talked with people about it. But I do think a couple of us are going to try to go. Like me, Josh, maybe Scott and his lady friend. I don't know. I could see that happening. Why? You interested in going?
I got to kick the tires on that. I think that would be a good one to take Asa to.
That would be a good one. I will say, I know you wanted, on news on AC/DC, we talked about that tour, that one show for $1,000 and had Ozzy Osbourne or whatever. But I think that's a precursor to kicking off a tour, so I'm going to keep my eyes on that. But that Alice Cooper Rob Zombie one, did I see Rob Zombie? I don't think I ever saw Rob Zombie. I've seen Alice God only knows how many times, but I'd like to see Rob, and I like to hope they do the one song that they had on each of their albums. I can't think of something to death, where they each had two different versions, one on each album. That would be kind of cool to see them do. So I don't know. I want to go.
Yeah.
I
think that would be a fun one.
Yep. But
go ahead, because I got one more to close out with.
I was gonna say, did you have any? I mean, I know you're gonna talk about the wrestling show on the wrestling show, but did anything any good eats or anything while you were at Levac?
Yeah, the donuts are always good. The big giant vegan donuts,
right?
And they had a vegan food person thing where they were selling what the hell were they selling? I got rid of all the treats or whatever, but they had a cheeseburger, a Big Mac, they're taking the Big Mac, whatever, and a meatball sub. And I got the meatball sub, and the meatball sub was really good.
Okay, I was just curious. I didn't know if you went out to eat too or anything.
And we did. We went to Denny's afterwards.
Ooh, did you have the Thing burger?
No. I got the Lumberjack Slam, which I always do.
Right.
And the rest of the table ordered correctly as well. Got some sort of appetizer thing, or mozzarella sticks, or DJ got the the country fried chicken with the sausage gravy,
Wow.
And he had asked for it with the breakfast potatoes, and the lady's like, "Oh, the red potatoes," and he's like, "Yeah, whatever, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And when she brought out his food, okay. The red potatoes, if I took a picture of them and showed this to you and I said, Todd, what are these? You would say, Dead Island 2? I don't know.
Right.
It definitely was, it was burned, right? And they just put it on the plate. They're just screw it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it got me thinking, at what time when you go to Denny's and you get your food and something's wrong with it, right? Let's just say it's burned. And you say, this is burned, send it back. Do they just say no? Because if I got food, okay, and it's clearly burned and it's not supposed to be burned. I didn't get the blackened catfish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you send out to me a thing that's supposed to be roasted red potatoes and they're black little triangles, I would have said, what's this? Can I have these replaced or something,
Right.
But DJ's just whatever. It's, it's 11 o'clock on a Saturday at Denny's. You get what you paid for, right?
Yep.
So I wonder if it's an unspoken agreement between Denny's and the patron. And it's you're going to order food. We're going to bring you out the closest approximation of that meal, and you're just going to eat it. And that's our agreement.
Yeah, it's a gentleman's agreement. Kind of.
And I wonder, if you go at, noon, I think you can send your food back. I think if you go at 6, you can send your food back. You go at 8, like, I want to know what the time is that you're not allowed to send your food back at Denny's anymore.
Right. And now I wonder, like, if that Denny's, like, closes now, like a lot of places do, you know?
No, so that's the thing. So from the last couple times that we've had LVAC shows, everything closes at 10. Everything. And the only things that are open is that Denny's and a Waffle House down the road. Now, I will say this. Let's say we take the last 4 LVAC shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
The last 4 LVAC shows, that Denny's was the only thing open. 2 of the last 4, this one and the one before, the Waffle House, was also open as well. So 2 of them, the Waffle House wasn't even open. So your options was Denny's or nothing.
Right.
So the Denny's was packed. So last time we went, the Denny's was packed. So we're like, all right, we'll go to the Waffle House instead. If they're open, last 2 times we went, they weren't even open. Fucking Waffle House, not open. We go, Waffle House is open, and this is a Waffle House that maybe their maximum occupancy is like 40 people.
Right. Waffle Houses usually aren't that big.
Right. It was tiny, and it was packed.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, this time we went to the Denny's, and I just think it's a Saturday night. They're the only game in town, so it's like we got 1 cook and we got 1 waitress serving the entire place. You're waiting and you're getting what you get, you know?
That's right. Don't be picky.
Right.
So what was the last thing you have to hit
All right,
me up
last thing, we talked about it last week because the weather's gotten cold again in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Right.
I had to turn the heat back on, but we've turned the heat back off since, and I sleep with the window open and whatever to keep cool. But because the weather's gotten cold again, we haven't been going out for bike rides lately.
Right.
And I've been enjoying going out for bike rides, but the problem is I'm a fat man who rides a bike. And I'm like, I really need to get a new seat. I need to do something. Like, this just isn't working out for me. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't gotten myself a new seat. And the last time that we went out riding our bikes, from the seat that I have on my bike, wearing the jeans that I have, and the type of underwears that I wear.
Thongs.
It's all right, yes. Like longer leg boxer briefs. I like to have coverage, but, need to keep everything tucked away, right?
Right.
From that combination of friction, it literally shredded my underwear.
Started a friction fire.
No, I got home and I'm just like, what feels weird? I'm like, did I? Listen, listen. So I've toyed before with getting like a 7th Twitter account that is like has no designation to me at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it would just be the disgusting things that are wrong with my body.
Okay, yes.
It was just like, oh, this happened again, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
And it would just be like, whatever graphic detail, whatever, in regards to the disgusting things on my body. And I'm like, oh, like sometimes I'll get like a weird skin tag in an area, right? And I'm like, did I like agitate something, And I went to the bathroom and I took my pants down and I'm just like, the hell is this? What happened to my underwear? And they were just like shredded. It was the craziest thing.
So many things I could say, but I won't.
Well, I had to go buy, some replacement pairs of underwears. And then, like, we haven't been on the bike since because it's been cold. And, like, I'm like, I really need to get a new seat. Something that's comparable for a fat man who rides a bike.
A banana seat with one of the bars. You know what I mean?
I think I need, like, a bucket seat or something.
A bucket seat. Something definitely gel. Put it down.
Oh, my goodness. If I could somehow soak in like a tub of goo while I'm riding the bike.
Like a waterbed seat,
Yeah.
That's what you need.
But I need something.
Crazy.
But that's it. If you see a mysterious Twitter account that pops up one day.
Shredded Undies 357.
Right. And lastly, I thought that was the thing I would close out with. So we went to go see, every Sunday we go at my dad's and I see my brother and his kids and everything else. And they're like 4 and 6. And, we're playing and we're roughhousing and we're leaving, and I pick, my little nephew up. He's 4, and I put him down, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And I like pulled a muscle in my wrist doing it.
Yeah.
And it's been like, we're on day 3 of it now, and it really sucks. It's my left wrist, and like the only thing that is truly affected by it, other than it's like just a constant dull throbbing pain, like nothing's broken, right? Because if it was broken, I wouldn't even be able to move it. And every once in a while, if I move it too much, like I feel it in my thumb, and I feel it go up my arm,
No, I get you. I mean, not to like go off on a tangent, but like I've been doing my collection, and like it was weird, so I had to like consolidate stuff. And I was like, oh, I have all these short boxes. You know what I'll do? I have a couple old empty long boxes. I'll like that way I could lay them on a table and be like, all right, well now I could stretch things out. I was like, oh, okay, that one's done. I have another long box over here. Let me put this long box on the floor. Oh boy. Like my sides hurt, like throwing these around like the back of my legs from like walking around with them. I'm like, I'm old and it sucks, but I totally get you. The littlest things now just get you, man.
And like I said, the main thing that the wrist hurting is affecting. I know I'd mentioned a couple of months ago that April got me a new belt for Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Like she always wants to find me like the perfect belt. And she always gets like these gimmick belts and stuff, and like it's great in theory, but like when the biggest size belt they sell is a 36, it's like, well, if you get 2, we could we could work them together, right?
Yep.
So she had got me this one this year that's more of like a winch system that it does the belt with, right?
Right.
It's not like a buckle and latches; it's a winch. The problem is the release for the winch to take my belt off, I usually get with my left hand. It's just easier that way. But because my wrist hurts, doing the motion to undo my belt really hurts. So now I'm like teaching myself on how to like, okay, I have to reach around and like flip the thing with my right hand I can undo my belt.
Have you thought about putting it on the other way?
No.
So, do you know what I mean? So
I do.
The winch would be facing the winch. It would be facing the other way. So you just pop it with your other hand the other way, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it's some weird belt that won't work that way, but
Todd, I've been wearing my belt the same way for the last however many years I've been wearing a belt. I can't. If I change the way I put my belt on, it's going to change my entire life for the worst.
Oh, God. All right. Fair enough. I'm with you. I'm not a big change guy.
Right.
And I will say, I think that will wrap it up there because there's something crawling on my ceiling coming at me. And I have to say, from like about 15 feet out, it looks pretty fucking big. So I'm going to go kill that, and I'm going to let you close out the show.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you very much for listening to episode 441 of Longbox Heroes After Dark, the Patreon, the eBay, the TeePublic store. See you next week.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.